I never thought the first time I saw him frown over a spreadsheet would make my heart twist like a corkscrew. There he was, the embodiment of every cold CEO cliché. Tailored suits that could slice glass, perfectly polished shoes, a face that looked like it could kill or seduce depending on the angle. I, on the other hand, was the kind of guy who spilled coffee on his own shoes just to keep my mother laughing. And yet, 5 years of letters later, I realized my entire life had been orbiting him like some cosmic joke. It all started at my sister's wedding. I had no idea back then that the man giving the toast, my soon-to-be ex-brother-in-law, was the same CEO who had haunted my dreams in the quiet hours. He was charming in that infuriatingly subtle way, smiling just enough to keep everyone on their toes, especially me. I hated him immediately, of course. How could I not? He was arrogant, brilliant, untouchable. And yet, as I watched him scribble something in the corner of his notebook, my curiosity flared. Something about him made me want to unravel him, even if it killed me. After the wedding, life became a series of chance encounters. Grocery stores, city streets drenched in rain. Even that one humiliating time in a subway when I tripped and almost face-planted into his designer shoes. Each encounter was torture. Each glance was a spark I tried desperately to ignore. But there were those letters. Nobody knew where they came from at first. I found one slipped between the pages of a book my sister had returned to me. The handwriting was perfect, the words intimate yet restrained. I laughed at the absurdity. Who writes love letters in 2025? But I read every single one, night after night, hiding them under my mattress as if they were contraband. And then the truth hit me like a rogue wave. He had been receiving them for 5 years. 5 years. And every time I thought about it, my chest tightened. Not because I envied the anonymous sender, but because I realized the letters might as well have been for me. Every poetic line, every careful confession of longing it felt like a mirror reflecting my own suppressed emotions. I wanted to scream at him. You could have told me. We could have laughed about this, cursed the city together. But the universe had other plans. Fast forward to a particularly bleak Tuesday. Rain pelted the streets of Manhattan, blurring the golden lights into smeared ribbons. I found myself in front of his office building, staring up at the glass tower that swallowed the sky. He appeared behind the large window, hands steepled, eyes locked on a file that could very well have contained the fate of half the city. He didn't see me, or maybe he did and chose not to acknowledge it. That was him, cold, untouchable, untamed. And yet, even from that distance, I felt a pull, magnetic and inevitable. I pushed the revolving door and walked in like I owned the place. The receptionist barely looked up, accustomed to high-stakes meetings, high-profile chaos. And now, a drama I had yet to understand. And then he appeared, not from behind the desk, not with the usual aura of authority, but from the elevator, hair damp from the rain, collar slightly undone, a vulnerability I had never seen. "You're here," he said simply. No surprise, no irritation, just the factual acknowledgement that I existed. And in that simple statement, my entire world shifted. "I could say the same," I replied, my voice steadier than I expected. I wondered if he noticed the tremor beneath my words. Probably. He always did. We didn't shake hands, didn't hug, didn't even sit immediately. We lingered in the air between us, thick with words unspoken. And then, as if on cue, his assistant appeared, scattering papers like a tiny, chaotic storm, forcing him to retreat to his desk. I stayed by the window, watching the rain stream down, feeling every heartbeat echo in a way that was both thrilling and terrifying. I couldn't help myself. I leaned closer to the glass, almost touching the reflection of his face, trying to memorize the angles of his jaw, the intensity of his gaze. The city hummed around us, oblivious to the storm inside the office. I wanted to call his name, to step forward, to unravel the cold, polished veneer and find the man behind the CEO mask. And maybe he wanted the same. There was a pause, a breath, and a tiny, imperceptible shift in the office air. The letters, those 5 years of hidden confession hung between us like ghosts. We were connected, tangled, and entirely aware that crossing the line could either destroy us or finally let us breathe. "You've been reading them?" His voice was quieter now, almost hesitant, almost human. I nodded, the simplest gesture carrying the weight of 1,000 emotions. My chest ached, a cocktail of fear, longing, and disbelief. "I didn't think anyone would." His voice trailed, unsure, breaking the ice for the first time. And there it was, the human crack in the armor, the tiny, flickering light I had been waiting for. The city moved on outside, indifferent to two men standing on opposite sides of a glass wall. Yet for the first time, I felt like the world had shrunk, focused entirely on this improbable, fragile connection. The days that followed were a careful dance, a negotiation of space and desire. I found myself lingering in his office more than necessary, pretending it was chance, pretending it was work. He never asked me to leave, and I never pushed the boundaries too far, at least not consciously. But the tension was electric. A glance held a little too long, a brush of our hands reaching for the same file, the unspoken acknowledgement that all 5 years of letters had created a bridge between us. It was a Thursday evening when it finally happened. The city lights were burning golden and amber against the twilight, the kind of glow that made the glass towers look like they were melting into the sky. He was reviewing a contract, his brow furrowed, jaw tight. I watched him from across the room, the way the light caught his cheekbones, the subtle shift in his shoulders when he exhaled sharply. "I can't do this anymore," he said suddenly, startling me. Not about the contract, not about the office he meant us. I froze, trying to mask the racing of my heart. "Do what?" I asked, though I already knew. "This," he gestured vaguely, encompassing everything. The tension, the longing, the words never spoken. "We've danced around this for too long, and I can't." He stopped, frustration and vulnerability colliding in his voice. "I can't pretend I don't feel it." I wanted to laugh, to cry, to shout all at once. Instead, I walked toward him, closing the distance, feeling the warmth of him before I even touched him. "Neither can I admitted softly. And then our world shifted. The first touch was hesitant, like testing the waters of something both terrifying and exhilarating. His hand found mine, fingers entwining naturally, as if the universe had been preparing us for this moment for 5 long years. He pulled me close, and for a heartbeat, we just breathed together, city humming outside, time suspended. Then his lips found mine, tentative at first, testing, then firm, urgent. Every stolen glance, every letter, every unspoken word culminated in that kiss. It was the release of years of longing, the acknowledgement that what had been hidden in ink and paper was finally alive, flesh and breath and warmth. We pulled back slightly, foreheads resting together. "Why did it take so long?" I whispered, laughing through the tremor in my voice. "I was scared," he admitted, voice low, a confession heavier than any corporate file could ever be. "Scared it wasn't real, scared of what it would mean." "It is real," I said, tightening my grip. Every word, every letter. It was always real. The following weeks were surreal. Workdays blended into late-night dinners, city walks in the rain, quiet mornings in each other's arms. There were no grand declarations, no dramatic interruptions, just a slow, deliberate weaving of 2 lives into one. He showed me parts of himself no one else saw: the way he hummed while making coffee, the meticulous care he took in arranging his books, the small, tender gestures that revealed a heart I never imagined belonged to someone like him. And I, in turn, let him see clumsy, impulsive, sarcastic me. He laughed at my jokes, genuine and unrestrained, a sound that felt like music in the sterile corridors of his world. We discovered that our differences didn't divide us. They complemented, creating a delicate balance between chaos and control, passion and reason. One evening, as the city sprawled golden and quiet beneath us, he turned to me with a soft smile, eyes reflecting the skyline. 5 years, he murmured. "I thought I'd lost my chance with you." "You never lost it," I said. "You just didn't realize we were always meant to find each other." He laughed, a warm, low sound, and pulled me closer. Then let's not waste another day. And we didn't. Nights were spent wrapped in blankets on his apartment balcony, talking about everything and nothing, our hands intertwined, the letters folded neatly in a drawer, now relics of a past that had finally led us here. Days were spent walking the streets of Manhattan, holding each other close, laughing at the absurdity of life, at how long it took to find something so simple, so true. The office no longer felt like a battlefield. Meetings became mundane. Deadlines became trivial. What mattered was the quiet connection, the secret smiles across a boardroom, the way our fingers found each other naturally, even in public. Our story, once steeped in longing and secrecy, had blossomed into something ordinary yet extraordinary. A love that was finally visible, tangible, and irrevocable. And in the end, the letters, those 5 years of hidden confessions, became a symbol not of missed opportunity, but of persistence. They reminded us that love could wait, could linger quietly, could survive in the most unexpected ways. They reminded us that even the coldest hearts could thaw, that even the most guarded men could open themselves to another, fully and completely. One rainy afternoon, as we stood by the window in his office, city lights dancing on wet streets, he brushed a strand of hair from my face. "Promise me," he said softly, "that we won't keep anything from each other again." "I promise," I replied, smiling despite the lump in my throat. He pulled me close, and we kissed, not with hesitation this time, but with certainty. The rain outside became background music to a story that had finally found its happy ending. And in that moment, I realized something profound. Love doesn't always need fireworks or grand gestures. Sometimes, it's the quiet, persistent pulse beneath the surface, waiting patiently until two souls are ready to meet, and when they do, nothing else matters. For 5 years, letters bridged the distance between us. Now we had each other, and that was enough. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.